And now back to Around the Kit with Joe Gansas.
Guys, we are back. 646-787-8027. Around the Kit. Guys, my first guest tonight, what can I say? I got goosebumps right now. This guy is just, he's like the Energizer Buddy. He don't stop. I don't know if he knows how to take a break. I'm not even sure if he sleeps. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to Around the Kit the great Rich Redmond. Rich, Joe Gansas, Around the Kit. What's up, brother?
How you doing, Joe?
I am pumped up for you, bro. Do you ever sleep, bro? What's going on?
Hey, you sleep when you're dead, man,
We are pumped to have you, Rich.
It's great to be here, man. You see how I took on that Italian accent? I was just talking to you for like 1 second.
Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How's everything going tonight? Good?
Everything's great. I was just at a Japanese restaurant here in Nashville, and I'm driving a Japanese car, and I'm sitting in my Japanese car right now doing this interview. It's pretty funny.
Rich, before we get into everything you do, how was the benefit last? Was it a benefit for Phil Collins? What was it? A tribute to him? How did that go?
It was amazing. That was actually, there's an organization that was in Nashville started by David Parks and Tom Hurst, two great drummer friends of mine. They're kind of like the pillars of the Nashville community here. They put together these tributes with this all-star house band, and 20 to 30 of Nashville's finer drummers get together and do tributes to their favorite drummers. So we've done like Jerry Gaskell, Bonham, Pert, Copeland, Alex. We've done everybody. It's been really amazing. And Phil and his wife have a foundation that kind of like helps kids that show aspirations to explore music and art and sports, and that are underprivileged. It kind of like helps them kind of realize that dream. So the money went to that foundation. Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Guys, we're talking to the great Rich Redmond. He's been so nice to give me some time today. Brother, we're almost the same year. We're almost the same age. I'm a year older than you. Take me back to like 1978. I think you were 8 years old when you started playing from Connecticut. What was going on with you when you first started playing, and what was the main thing going on as far as drummers and music in your life then?
Well, to me, some of the finest music ever recorded was that the era was 1969 to 1981. I think that was like a really beautiful, juicy, golden era of music. There was you could just feel the humanity in the music. Frampton Comes Alive, Zeppelin. We Kiss, double platinum. We were in the middle of all that. I was like a super restless, like type A kind of young kid, hitting everything in sight. And my dad said, "Hey, Rich, why don't you play the drums? We'll take you down to the Milford Percussion and Guitar Workshop." It was right there on the square in Milford, Connecticut. And I got my little Blue Sparkle snare drum and my practice pad, and I had this great teacher, and we were working through some Joel Rothman books, and then, he taught me how to read and the rudiments, and then I added a bass drum and a little crack cymbal. I was playing along to Kiss records, and that kind of started my journey. After that, we ended up moving to Texas. My dad got a job in Texas, and Texas has a great music education program, and I joined the school band in 5th grade, played all through college. I ended up getting 2 degrees in, classical music and music education, and just wanted to play a lot of different kinds of music to kind of give myself a good chance to create opportunities in the music business, because anybody listening knows that the music business is definitely a tough industry. So looking back, I don't know, it's been like 38 years of playing the drums or something now, so it's been amazing.
Rich, what kind of school are we talking about? University of North Texas. What kind of school is it?
Well, you probably know a lot of the guys that have gone to school there, guys like Keith Carlock, who went on to change the drumming world. I know he was going to do that. We were peers in college. Before that, guys like Greg Bissonette, who played with David Lee Roth and Satriani. And if you ever watched an episode of Friends, Greg was the guy that played on all the music on Friends for 12 years. So That's the school that kind of like cranked out those kind of musicians, and it was great. There's like 150 drummers all trying to get into like 10 bands there at that school, so it was kind of like an academic equivalent of the real world, because it was a highly competitive. There's a lot of schools now that exist, and as long as you can pay your tuition, you're going to stay in school. But at North Texas, you had to prove yourself every 3 months. Every semester, you didn't know if you were going to be in school anymore. At that, studying music.
Did you feel pressure? Was there pressure in college for you?
Oh, there was pressure, sure, yeah. Because my first degree I got at Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas, and there's nothing to do in Lubbock, Texas, but practice. And I just kind of locked myself away and did a lot of playing, and I was kind of a big fish in a small pond, and I got a lot of experience for 4.5 years playing a lot of different kinds of music. So when I got to North Texas, I was pretty prepared, but still there was just this great talent from all, one of my contemporaries was from Perth, Australia. They come from all over the world to study there. And if you've ever seen the movie Whiplash, that's kind of like what, not to that extent, but it was that competitive.
Mm-hmm. Rich Redmond, drummer, producer, songwriter, speaker, author. There's probably something else you do that I'm not naming, but what's the recipe, Rich? What's the DNA for everything you do, brother?
There's kind of like some sort of like innate drive that I have, and it's a thing that you're born with. I don't think it's a thing that you can necessarily like learn. I just love music. I love the drums, but more than anything, I love people. I'm a people person. I love being around people. I like working with people. I like making people happy. I like trying to change people's lives. And I think that ultimately that's our purpose in life, is to help change lives and affect people in a positive way. That's what music does. Music has such a healing quality. There's this video going around the internet of Rocky at the end of the movie running up the steps, and they took the music out of it. And all you hear is a guy huffing and puffing and going, yeah, which is great because I love Rocky. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, along with Alien, Ridley Scott, 1978. Boom, I love that movie. But you take the music out of it, and it has way less dramatic impact. So, music is our highest form of expression. It's right up there, it's right up there. It truly is. I feel like one of our highest forms of communication. It transcends culture, language barriers, everything. So that's kind of like my wheelhouse. Whether I'm starting to act now, and that's kind of like one step removed from motivational speaking, and motivational speaking is one step removed from being a teacher. And I always felt like I was a natural teacher. It was a calling. I had an affinity for it. I worked towards always being a better teacher. And if there's people listening out there that are musicians that don't teach, I encourage you to teach, because you'll learn so much about what makes you tick as a musician, and you'll end up improving as a musician because you'll figure out why you do what you do and how you do what you do. So to me, all these things are kind of like under the bubble of the entertainment world, and they're also under the bubble of people, humanity, making a difference, changing lives, all that stuff.
Rich, guys, we're talking to Rich Redmond, 646-787-8027. I watch you. I see how you're a people person, and you're active in the community, and you're all these things. But tell me, what happens when you sit behind a set? When you sit in that throne, do you become a different person? Because you seem like you just become a different person when you're behind the set.
I think that's when maybe that's when my little devil comes out. There's a devil that sits on your shoulder. There's an angel that sits on your other shoulder.
Yeah.
Having a constant, conversation. I don't know. It's just my calling. I'm just, everything I do in life is working towards getting behind a set of drums again, and it's so difficult to do that. I tell young students, I say, hey, when I was in Dallas, Texas, I played on McDonald's jingles, and I played in top 40 bands, and I taught, and I played in smooth jazz bands and big bands, and I played in Tex-Mex groups and tribute, all sorts of different kinds of music, and it all made me equally happy. and I played church gigs. It's just I hustle my butt off so I can continually be behind the drums because that's what makes me happy, and I know that's my calling in life. And when I'm behind the drums, it makes a difference in other people's lives because I find that people smile. My bandmates smile. The people in the audience smile. So that's a cue from the universe that you're on the right path. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And people always say, "Oh, that guy is crazy. Look, he's making all these faces." You think I'm making those faces on purpose? There's no way. Those things are just it's a byproduct of being in the moment and making music and kind of relinquishing yourself to the muse and being in the moment and because like music has that special thing. My band and I've been playing with the same rhythm section, the same band for 17 years, which is a real luxury. It doesn't happen a lot in the music industry, especially in Nashville, which is very much an every man for himself kind of town. We've survived 4 presidencies together and wives and girlfriends, and we're still playing music together. We have a great time. And sometimes we're, the guys, maybe they play an extra game of basketball, they're super tired, or we're jet lagged, or we're just not feeling it for whatever reason. And we get behind our instruments and the lights go down and it just happens. You forget about everything. And then you realize there's a great responsibility that goes with that because there's all those people out there that put down their hard-earned money to come see you. And so you kind of have a responsibility to not mail in that performance and play from the heart and really, do your job, execute,
Absolutely, yeah. Guys, we're talking to Rich Redmond. Take me back, brother. Take me back to your first big break, Pam Tillis. What was that like?
Yeah, Pam Tillis. Yeah, for those that don't know out there, this is like I'm realizing that I'm getting older and there's generation gaps. Pam had this amazing career in the 80s and 90s. She was like a new wave of pop country fusion in Nashville. And when I hooked up with Pam, we were doing a lot of casinos and corporate gigs and stuff, but she had 18 top 10 singles. And so for me, that was the first time I had a drum tech. That was the first time someone was put me on a salary and gave me a tour itinerary for the whole year. I knew where I was going to be the entire year, which, as we all know as musicians, is a real luxury to know what you're going to be doing next month. And it was really great. It was total white glove, airplanes and nice catering and backstage, and it was just fun. It was like, wow, I'm on path here. I did it. And then right after I did that gig, I ended up quitting that gig to join an original band with Tim Rushlow, who's the lead singer of a band called Little Texas. They sold about 10 million records, and then he wanted to start his own band. And so we, it was a different thing. I went from being on a salary and buying Starbucks whenever I wanted to starving and donating plasma and selling all my Xbox games.
Great
stuff. Different side of the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Guys, we're talking to Rich Redmond. Well, Rich, since that Pam Tillis first big break, talk to me about being involved in 20, not one, 20 number one hits.
Man, I count my blessings, and hashtag gratitude. That's a running joke. Hashtag gratitude, man. It's just, a lot of drummers work their whole career to try to play on a number one song. And so for me, to have done that, I can't take all the credit. It's just that I worked really hard to create opportunities for myself, and the opportunity came in the form of meeting a young Jason Aldean and meeting a younger version of his band and a younger version of his producer, and it was just all these people that kind of believed in me and championed me, and we buckled down, and we were a team, and we delivered when the time came to deliver, and the radio smiled on us, the fans smiled on us, and it happened, and it's just a really, really cool thing to experience that, to hear yourself on the radio. The first time I ever heard myself on the radio, I think I was 34 years old, which is kind of late. A lot of people want to play Madison Square Garden and hear themselves on the radio when they're 21, 22 years old. I heard myself on the radio for the first time at 34 years old, and I was with the guys in my band, and let me tell you, 3 30-somethings driving down I-65 in Nashville, breaking out in tears because it was our dreams coming to fruition. And that's such a powerful moment, something that I will always kind of remember.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's also a lot of years of hard work, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, you know, I've been in Nashville 19 years, and there's a lot of people that have come and gone. I know for a fact a lot of the people that I met my first week in Nashville, you know, they left. You know, it's a really tough place, and you really have to stick to your guns and fall in love with rejection. I tell anybody that wants to do anything in the arts that the rejection has to inspire you. You know, when somebody slams at my door in my face, it inspires me and it motivates me to find those true believers, because there's true believers everywhere in the world. You just have to find who those people are. You know what I mean? And if you just stay on your journey and you keep moving forward, even if it's just baby steps every single day, and you don't quit. That's the key right there, is to not quit and to hold on tight to your dreams. And you have to figure out things to do in your life that can make it easier for you to hold on to your dreams. So, you know, if you end up getting married and you have a day job and you're cranking out kids, it's going to get harder and harder and harder to do that kind of stuff, because it's kind of a young man's game. You know what I mean? But I consider myself an eternal youth, because you can either grow up or you can play drums. So, you know, we got that licked.
Rich Redmond, you're doing it now. Absolutely. You're doing everything, and you've been involved with it, you know, almost 20 years now. Do you think sometimes in music that luck has something to do with it? You know, being in the right place, the right time, being a little lucky. You think it has something to do with, you know, what they do in the music business?
Definitely, but the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Great,
right?
Great.
So yeah, if you're getting up every day and you're rolling up your sleeves and that's kind of why I developed my crash philosophy for successful living. You know, I developed this in 1 hour. 10 years ago, I developed this concept called crash. And crash stands for commitment, relationships, attitude, skill, and hunger. And so it's taken me the last 10 years to share that message with kindergartners and Fortune 500 companies and college music programs and business programs and guitar centers and Sam Ash music stores. Whoever is going to lend me their ear, that message, I'm going to try to share that message, because if you use those concepts, you will be able to reap the benefits. You will be able to write your ticket to success, essentially. You know, so when you think about it, if you are committed to what you do, and you put the sweat equity in, you cannot fail. If you cultivate sincere relationships in your lifetime, you cannot fail. If you have a positive, flexible attitude, you cannot fail. If you develop the skill sets you need to succeed in life, you cannot fail. And if you are hungry for success, if you have that fire that burns in your belly to be successful, and you keep those flames stoked at all times, you cannot fail. So I just kind of try to remind myself, it's an easy way to remember, hey, am I doing all these things? Am I committed? Am I developing and honoring new relationships and keeping relationships that I formed 30 years ago fresh? And is my attitude positive? Am I keeping up with the Joneses and keeping my skills super sharp? And am I hungry to be successful? And so I answer those questions all the time when I get up in the morning and when I go to bed at night. So, but I think that, yeah, you can do things to help yourself, like, are you in shape? Are you well dressed? Do you have good sounding gear? Do you show up on time? Do you have some basic business savvy? Do you return phone calls, emails, and texts in a timely manner? Do you live in a city that is a musically cultural area like New York, LA, or Nashville? I mean, I would consider Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Austin, and Seattle secondary markets. And I might get hate mail, but the industry, the big machinery is not in those markets. The big machinery is in Nashville, because somebody's writing a song right now, and then a studio musician has to bring that song to life, and then a producer has to record that song, and then a band leader gets hired to put the band together, and then somebody has to go out, and there's all these other ancillary jobs that are related. That's why Taylor Swift's label is called The Big Machine Records, because there's a big machinery that's needed from taking a song in its germination, its early seeds to getting it on the radio is a massive process with tons of jobs and tons of people connected to that.
Great stuff. Guys, we're talking to Rich Redmond. And Rich, I love the hunger part, the hunger which really drives me. But would you say in life and the things you do, even doing my show, I got to be so prepared every week. Doing a show, you want to be prepared and preparation. I don't think people take that into consideration enough in life, being prepared and preparation. What do you think about that?
Preparation meets opportunity. You have to be, that's success. Preparation meets opportunity. And the thing that just floors me sometimes is I will run into, for whatever reason, really highly successful people and people that want to be successful, and they come in and they're not prepared.
Right.
They're not prepared for their, when I auditioned for Trisha Yearwood and Dina Carter and Barbara Mandrell and all these people that I was coming to Nashville trying to get my foot in the door, I was supposed to learn 5 songs for each of these artists. I learned everything. I learned their entire record. I transcribed their whole record. I went out and bought their live concert. It was on VHS at the time. I learned everything. And so what if that one song, what if Trisha said, hey, do you know such and such a song from my second record? And I was the only drummer out of the 20 drummers on the cattle call that knew the song. Those little things can really, really make a difference. But if somebody calls me to play at the corner coffee shop and they're a new recording artist and they want me to learn 10 songs, I have all 10 of those songs completely charted out, because in a city like Nashville or Los Angeles, you never know who's going to walk through the door and witness you playing that coffee house. And they could be a tastemaker. They could be somebody that can make a total difference in the trajectory of your career and your freaking life. Mm-hmm. So when I see people like winging it, it really makes me mad. It really makes me mad, especially too, if I hire, say I'm a band leader and I hire a house band to back up 5 different recording artists or one of my drummers' weekends or something like that, and people show up and they don't know the songs, and I'm paying them good money to be there.
Right.
That really makes, if somebody's paying me money, then it's my obligation to know their material inside and out. Right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So preparation is the most respectful. It's how you show respect to someone. Mm-hmm. So anybody listening out there, if you feel like, hey, there's better drummers, there's better musicians than you out there, you could totally level the playing field by being a better business person and being more prepared and having a bigger smile and a firmer handshake. These things make a big difference, because I feel like it's an expectation for you to be able to play well. You know what I mean? But if you show up and do things that a lot of like creative types don't do, like do laundry and like wear cologne and like show up on time and like do things that people in the normal other business world do, you can totally get jobs based on that. Because, if I'm hiring a band, I want to hire somebody that plays well, but they need to be able to get along with me. They need to be able to take direction. They need to smell good. They need to, you know what I mean? They need to be somewhat funny. That whole thing. Be able to take, be flexible, because when you're a road musician, you're only playing for 60 minutes, 90 minutes a day. The rest of the time, you're traveling in a 20, 45-foot tube with a bunch of people, and schedules change constantly, so you got to be super flexible.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Tell me why sometimes not always the best musician for the job doesn't get that job. Maybe because of his attitude. I find that I have guests that, they can be the best drummers in the world, but maybe because of their attitude or people don't like them. Do you think that would stop somebody from getting a job? I mean, you're in the business a while. What do you think about that?
Oh, my God. There's so many what I call negative Nellies out there, Debbie Downers. Right. Those are like, they should have been like Cabbage Patch Kids. Negative Nelly and Debbie Downer. But they're just, they bring the whole world down, and I sure as hell don't want to be around those people. So I would rather have a just good musician that was a really great person that was fun to be around than a savant musician that is like, ooh, the sun bothers me. Like they're just like, they're just like really hard to. But more than anything, a career killer is negativity. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we're already in a very, very tough industry that's dying. Our industry, it's on its last leg until something changes. So there's so much competition for very few jobs that attitude, I feel, is definitely the most important part of my crash philosophy. I think it's makes or breaks life. I think it's 99.9% of life. I want to be around somebody with a positive attitude. And a lot of times, what you would consider, quote unquote, what is the best? Is it the fastest? Is it the guy with the most drums? Is it the guy that can twirl faster? What is it? Is he the fastest feet? It's like the best musician for that particular job. And so somebody who might be right for the Keb Mo job might not be right for the Kenny G job, might not be right for the Jason Aldean job. And one other thing beyond that is a lot of people that are in positions of authority to hire the musician have already chosen the person they want to be in that band. They're doing the audition as a formality and as a tip of the hat to management, because management or the artist may want to go through the rigmarole of doing the audition, but really the musician has already been selected because the bass player is the band leader and he wants to hire his second cousin.
Absolutely.
Happens every day.
Well, you know what I said before, Rich, and I have a saying. I actually made shirts, and it goes like this: surround yourself with positive people. Don't let negative people surround you.
I love it. So hats on the front and hats on the back?
Exactly.
I love it. I knew it. I'm right in your head, baby. I love it. I love that one. I want one of those.
I'll send you one.
Okay. I love it, man.
Can old people benefit from your course?
I think so, because I've done, like I said, kindergartners. My event is what I call the power hour. So it's like 60 minutes. It's a talk play format. I come out, I do a short drum solo. I get the energy super high in the room. People love drums. It's like man's first instrument. We relate to it at a primal level. And then I talk about commitment and how it's applied to my life and how it will apply to the people in the room. So I totally customize my presentation to the audience at hand. And then I play a number one song. And then I talk about relationships in the same way. And then I play a number one song. So it keeps everybody super, super engaged. And I've also done the event, like I said, in the boardroom for Fortune 500 companies with and without my drums. I've also done it for kindergartners with and without my drums. So I think it's a universal message that we need to be committed. We need to cultivate and honor relationships. We need to have a great attitude. We need to work on our skill set. We need to stay hungry for success, because I think everybody in life wants to be successful. Who doesn't want to be successful, So, yeah, I'm having a blast with it. I'm 10 years in now of bringing it to anybody and everybody I can. And I still get to play the drums, and I just take it one step further by adding the message that has just some added value, I think, And I'm happy to be part of this whole culture of live music education events. There's a handful of us, the Dom Famularos, the Mark Schulmans, the Stanton Moores, I'm in this mix of guys that are bringing live drum clinics to, community centers and churches and colleges and guitar centers and mom and pop drum shops. And a lot of people thought that the drum clinic was dead because of YouTube, and it has been hit severely. But there are those true believers out there that want to come out and experience a one-on-one relationship with someone in the room at the same time. We'll never be able to replace that. And that's what I tell the young kids. YouTube is fantastic. It's a rabbit hole of information. The only problem is there's not a method, because the algorithms are kind of funny, and they'll bring up all sorts of somewhat related things, but there's not an actual syllabus or a methodical way of going through the material. Secondly, there's a lot of bad information out there. So you really need to get a teacher. Like, not even Skype lessons. Skype lessons are great. I do, like, Skype lessons. I do life coaching via Skype. I do all that kind of stuff, which is great. But it's nothing like being in the room with somebody and also, you know, being responsible for material. Like, people talk about studying with the great Vic Firth. You know, people know him as the guy whose name is on the sticks, but he was actually a world-class timpanist with the Boston Symphony. And people would go study with him, and if they weren't prepared, he would say, "You're not prepared. You're wasting my time. Go home." And you can't get that from YouTube.
Yes, Rich, you want that intimacy. And my previous guest last month, a friend that you did 2013 Woodstick, the great Kenny Arnoff, he told me a story about Vic Firth, and what you just said was true. If the lesson was a half hour or an hour long, within the first 10 minutes, if you didn't know your stuff, he would end the lesson. He was a great guy, but when time to come to put up, if you didn't put up, he would get rid of you, like you said.
Kenny's a real inspiration. It's really funny, like everybody in my life that I grew up listening to or idolizing is now a friend of mine. It's really amazing. Like, I'm friends with Kenny. I'm friends with Liberty DeVito. I'm friends with Sandy Gennaro. I'm friends with Sammy Marin. All these guys that I grew up watching on MTV, I have their cell phone number. I could text them now, and I can send them a weird emoji in the middle of the night. And it's like, wow, you reap what you sow. It's just proof that whatever you want to do in life, if you put enough time in and you wrap it with passion, you can do whatever you want. So passion is your engine, and hard work is the fuel. And it gets so much easier to continue to work hard at something you're passionate about, because it doesn't feel like you're working hard. So then it allows you to work even harder, and that allows you to reap the benefits even more and more and more.
Absolutely. Rich, you've worked with some of the greatest performers of all time in your career so far. If you had to pick one attribute, one adjective, what could it be that you learned from all of these people so far?
I would say commitment, you know? I mean, because, you know, whether you're on or off the stage, you're committing. You're committing to that moment in time, being on stage. You have a commitment to yourself to be the best you can. You have a commitment to the audience, the paying audience, to be the best you can. But I think that the one word that sums up everybody that I worked with is energy. You know, you're around somebody like, you know, Bob Seger or Bryan Adams or Joe Perry or Kelly Clarkson. I mean, or Jason Aldean. I mean, of course, Jason Aldean is my favorite. I mean, we've been working together for 17 years, and there's so many memories there of waking up at 5 in the morning and going to do an unplugged song for the morning television station, and then going and visiting 2 radio stations to pimp the new single, and then going to sound check at some honky-tonk in the middle of nowhere on a Tuesday, and then playing that show that night, and then going to bed, and then waking up in a new city and playing 2 shows in 105-degree temperature on a Sunday, and you're like, what's catering? And they're like, pork barbecue, of course. You know, it's just like there's a lot of memories there, you know, and it takes a lot of energy to do that. It takes a lot of energy to do, but I think that energy is a key word for fueling your career, you know. In the same amount of time it takes to complain about something, you could have already gotten it done, you know.
Rich, you've been around some great drummers, probably some friends of yours. If you got to pick one guy, that special drummer in your life, maybe from the 70s, 80s, or now, who's the one drummer in Rich Redmond's life that you say, that's my guy?
Well, it's really funny because I don't think you're ever going to ever have a guest who's ever just going to pick one drummer, because drummers love drummers, and it just doesn't happen with bass players. It doesn't happen with guitar players. But okay, so I'm gonna describe a bunch of different drummers. So Keith Moon, Reckless Abandon, John Bonham, Heart and Soul, huge sound. Charlie Watts, the perfect drummer for the Rolling Stones. Ringo Starr, the perfect drummer for the Beatles. I love Kenny Aronoff for his work ethic and for his message, and for being a great example to show what you can accomplish in the music business by putting your nose to the grindstone. So yeah, I love him. I love the fact that Sandy Gennaro is my neighbor right now, and I watched him. I would be in my underwear eating Fruit Loops and watching, Money Changes Everything video on MTV 6 times a day. Energy. Let's see.
How about
Elton John's drummer, Nigel Olsson? Gorgeous.
Yes.
The best ballad fills ever. Right?
You could
the
also
list goes
say
on and on.
you could also say that Neil Peart is the perfect guy for Rush.
Neil Peart was the perfect guy for Rush. And how many people could say there's 3 guys that wrote songs about basically the Lord of the Rings can go on and fill arenas? I mean,
right, yeah.
Who saw that coming? Writing music in odd time signatures about medieval stuff. Like, wow. I mean, that's incredible to have that kind of career. The Police, Stuart Copeland, way up there. The fact that he started off as a punk rock drummer, and that by growing up a military brat, he was able to soak up Caribbean rhythms and Middle Eastern rhythms and African rhythms to become the drummer that he is today, and then to reinvent himself and become a film and TV composer. Amazing. I love Greg Bissonette for his versatility and the fact that he can go and he could play with David Lee Roth, but then he could play on all the music for Friends. And he's also an inspiration because he does voiceovers. He's the voice behind Winnie the Pooh. And so, I'm getting into voiceovers now because I want to cash in on these whiskey-tinged pipes that I got, man, So it's like I can't pick one guy, but I can tell you that I can steal something from everybody and I add it to my arsenal of things, and it comes out. This is what's great. It comes out as me because we're all so unique. We're all like snowflakes. There's only one of us. So I can try to copy Alex Van Halen. I could try to tune my snare drum like he does, and I could write out everything that he's ever done note for note, play along with the records. I'll never completely sound like Alex Van Halen, but I'll soak up some of those ideas, and they'll become part of the fabric of my vocabulary. You know what I mean? Terry Bozzio, the fact that I got to jam for like a half an hour with Terry Bozzio at the Drum Channel. If you go to Drum Channel, you type in my name and Terry Bozzio, there's a jam there somewhere. Nothing was planned. It was just like he started an idea and I would follow, and sometimes I was accompanying and sometimes he was accompanying, and we were playing phrases around each other, and it's like, what? I grew up listening to Missing Persons and watching the videos. So, yeah, man, I anybody that plays a drum, I could watch some total hack of a drummer, weekend warrior at a Irish bar on the weekend, and I am still going to find something that I dig in that guy's playing or something that I could take with me.
Absolutely. Rich Redmond, I would say life is good, huh, brother?
I would say that. 2015 was a little bit of a personal turmoil for me. It was a little bit of a crazy year for me, but, you just pick your head up every day and you move forward and you work on the things that you have control over, because sometimes things you just don't have control over. But I wanted to keep moving forward in all these other really important areas of my life because so many great things are happening. So, it's to the listeners out there, just hold on tight to your dreams. Write them down, for one. Whatever you want to do in life, write it down, because it doesn't get real until you write it down. As soon as you put pen to paper, that stuff gets real really fast. And it might happen when you're 21, and then your challenge will be to stay relevant, or you might struggle until you're 41. Like me, I wanted to play the Hollywood Bowl when I was 21, but I played the Hollywood Bowl when I was 41. So there's 20 years there that I could have quit.
Right. Great stuff. Rich Redmond, from Joe Gansas to you, I cannot thank you, brother, for coming on my show. You've made my show better. I am such a fan of everything you do. You don't even know. You're an inspiration, and I hope you enjoyed yourself tonight. Rich, at the end of my interviews, I ask my guests one question, and their answer is their answer. I do not debate it. On a scale of 1 to 10, brother, rate this interview.
10. You're amazing because you got a big heart, You're totally sincere. I think you're doing this show for the right reasons. I think it's going to totally blow up, whatever I can do to help promote the show. And, yeah, I've totally enjoyed myself. And you're a paisan, hey?
Rich Redmond, from Joe Gansas and everybody at Around the Kit, we love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, and we will continue to follow you on your drumming journey. Thank you so much, brother.
Hey, thank you guys so much. And, hey, if anybody wants to keep in touch with me, super easy. It's Rich Redmond, REDMOND.com. And on all the socials, it's just my name. So I'd love to keep in touch with you and share your victories.
Rich Redmond, like you remind me of like the Energizer Bunny. You're always going, and I love that, brother. I applaud everything you do.
Thanks so much. Hey, I hope to see you in the flesh soon. Thanks again for having me.
Okay, man. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.
God bless.
Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Oh, guys, the great Rich Redmond. How was he? He was better than I thought. My God, I expected this guy to come on with all his energy, and he blew me out of the water. Guys, check out richredmond.com. The guy does everything. He does everything. I mean, let me tell you again, he does everything. He's a drummer, a producer, songwriter, speaker, author. He might even be running for president soon. I'm not sure if he's a Democrat or a Republican, but he might make a good president. Maybe I could be his vice president. You never know. Thank you so much, Rich Redmond.